All right, we will continue our media availability here at Daytona with Mr. Tony Stewart, driver-owner, Stewart-Haas Racing. Tony, welcome back. It's very good to see you here at Daytona International Speedway.
Good to be back.
It's good to see you. Talk a little bit about what it feels like to be back and be here at Daytona.
It'd be nice if it was dry right now, but, you know, it's Daytona and it's February, and you get this when we come down sometimes, but it's nice to be back at the track. Would definitely like to be in a car this week, but, you know, we're still on schedule to be clear the day before the shootout, so, you know, we'll be down here for 2 days hanging out and watching our teams run.
All right, we'll go ahead and just open it up for questions for Tony. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start right up here to the right with Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I was at your shop doing interviews right before Christmas, and you're, to a man, your team is ahead of the game from last year. At least, you know, that's kind of the indication. How far ahead are you, do you think? And, you know, with Rodney Childers being there early, how do you hit this time of year right now?
Well, I think they're really ready for the test here, which I think last year we were still scrambling just to get parts and pieces, so we're definitely ahead of the game there. There's a lot of stuff going on at our shop with redoing the building that we're currently in, as well as the lot next door, trying to get it ready. So, you know, considering all that's going on there, I think Rodney and all the rest of the crew chiefs have done a really good job of, and Zipadelli in particular, have done a great job of, you know, being able to work around the construction. And like I said, we feel like we're actually way ahead of where we were this year last time.
Okay, we'll take our next question here in the middle, up front with Dwight.
Dwight from RaceTech.com. Tony, could you talk a little bit about what it meant to you to have fans pulling for you while you went through your rehab? It's a long process for you, but they were pulling all the way.
Yeah, I mean, great thing is our fans don't stop just because we stopped racing. So, you know, it was cool to see through the winter. And, you know, we had an appearance last night in Jacksonville and had a lot of fans there. So it was exciting to see how excited they were of our progress. And, you know, it's like little victories, like getting off the crutches and walking on our own again. I mean, that's something the fans picked up on, and that was like a victory to them. So, you know, it's been pretty cool. It's not just been a personal thing every day when I get up. It's knowing that everybody's following what we're doing, and you know, when we have these little personal victories of accomplishments of getting healed back up, it's much broader than just what's going on with me. It's affecting a lot more people.
Okay, we'll go Alan, George, and Holly.
Alan Cavano, NASCAR.com. How is your health compared to how you feel to what the doctors say, or how you feeling?
Not bad. I mean, it's the weather. I'm a pretty good barometer right now. It seems like if the rain comes or snow or cold comes, I know it right before it changes. But, you know, I feel pretty good. I mean, I still have a little ways to go, but, you know, we got 4 weeks to get ready the rest of the way. And, you know, it's even when we get here in February, it's not going to be 100%. So, you know, physically I'm not going to feel 100%, but I'll be able to do my job 100%. So that's the main thing. I don't mind it taking a little longer for the physical side to heal, as long as I can drive a race car like I need to when I get back.
Okay, we'll go George, Holly, and then Rick.
Yeah, Tony over here. George Diaz, Orlando Sentinel. Can you talk about how challenging it's been for you, both from a mental and a physical standpoint, in getting back?
Yeah, I guess the hardest part is just not knowing where I'm supposed to be. I mean, I've never had an injury like this, so I don't have anything to compare to. So it's, you know, I kind of base everything on a week-to-week deal, and on Sunday I kind of evaluate where I was the Sunday before and go from there. So it's been kind of a challenge, I guess, from that standpoint. I mean, the physical side of it's an obvious deal. I mean, it's getting everything healed back up and going through rehab and doing everything we're supposed to do. But the you know, just not knowing exactly what I'm supposed to feel like, you know, if something hurts, why is it hurting? I've not had those experiences before. So, you know, the therapist gets his phone. I think he sits it on his nightstand at night because I call him a lot and ask a lot of questions. But, you know, having those guys around, it kind of takes the psychological side and kind of puts a lot of that at ease. Oh yeah, he knows if I call, he's picking up. I don't think his wife's quite as happy about me having his cell number, but I'm happy I have it. I mean, it's been a peace of mind for me.
Okay, we'll come up front to Holly, then go to Rick, Jim, and Jenna.
HollyKNASCAR.com. I'm curious how your stamina is, and
Welcome to Daytona.
In terms of how you're spending your days.
Hey, you put the pause in there. I didn't.
No.
So.
Your stamina in terms of, how much time you're spending resting versus doing other things, and how you're spending your days. Obviously, not being in the car and able to test and things like that. Are you doing a whole lot more with getting the team ready? I mean, just basically how you're spending your days.
I just got back to Charlotte 2 days ago, actually. I did go home for a break. Went home on the 20th and came back the 8th. So I've been doing some therapy at the house as much as I can do, which has been about 75% of what I could do at the clinic where I would go do my therapy in Charlotte. So I've been able to continue what we've been doing. The days have varied, obviously, through holidays. I mean, you're traveling, you're being at family functions. I went to a race in Fort Wayne in between Christmas and New Year, so I was up a lot those 2 days. Those were probably the hardest 2 days of the off season for me. But next week we're going to Chili Bowl and hanging out, so you're up on your feet all day. So we're basically back to normal days as far as being up all day, and occasionally you'll sit down and get a break, but no more than anybody else would. So. But I haven't been just sitting the whole time I've been home. We've actually been down and working and trying to make sure that we don't go backwards and by not continuing our therapy. So, I actually go back to therapy Friday night. When we get back from the test, we're actually going in late to do a therapy session. So, I've been excited about it. I mean, I kind of, it's hard to go, like I said, day to day and say, okay, today's better than yesterday, because there's days that you get up and you hurt worse and you don't know why. But consistently every weekend on Sunday when we've sat and said, okay, where were we at versus last week or 2 weeks ago, it's been better. So I feel like we're doing the right stuff to get ready. The hard part is, I still don't get through the day like I would like to get through the day. But like I said, a week ago I couldn't get through the day near like I could this past weekend. So it's continuing to get better. And like we said, we got 4 more weeks to get ready for that. Luckily, this is a smooth racetrack. It's not rough and bumpy. If it were Dover, I would be a lot more concerned. But the hard part with here is you're just with your throttle, with your right leg, you're on the gas so long. So that's the only thing we're worried about right now, just because we just don't know till we get in the car and actually run, and we're not going to know that till the day before. So we'll get a little bit of time in there, but we'll know a little better after our practice is over.
Percentage-wise, are you spending more of your day getting yourself better physically, or more of your day race team?
Well, I think during the last 2 weeks, it's more been getting myself better. Hard parts when you're out of town, you're kind of removed from it. And the good thing was, a lot of the team members went and had vacation days and took vacation, so we kind of all were on a little bit of break together. Now they came back a little earlier than I did, but that's the nice thing about having Greg Zippadelli. I can be absent for a couple days and don't have to worry about things.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Rick, then go to Jim, Jenna, and Kenny.
Rick Benner of RacingToday.com. Tony, while you're laid up, have you had a chance to sort of come up with a bucket list of things you'd like to do when you get back in a race car or race cars?
February here is high on that bucket list. It's we haven't won here yet, so we won here, just not on the right day. So the second Sunday would be nice. That's all that's on the bucket list right now.
And on the other hand, have you had time to sort of reflect back at stuff you've already accomplished in cars through your career?
Yeah, honestly, I really have. It's I've had a lot of time that I had a lot of spare time that I wasn't used to. So and just whether it was visitors coming and talking or telling stories, there's a lot of things that even through the last couple of weeks when I was home, seeing people that I haven't seen for a long time and hearing stories, it was it's pretty cool to finally have time a little bit to reflect back on what we've done in our career. But it's like I told them at the end of every conversation, I said, yeah, that's just that chapter. We're still building chapters down the road here. So it's neat to talk about what we did in the past, but I'm really excited about talking about what hopefully we can do in the future now.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jim.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. When you mentioned that you'll be cleared the day before the Sprint Unlimited and that you might not feel 100%, but will be able to give 100%, can you you have any idea how much your most recent surgery if not for that, do you think you would be closer to feeling as good as well as being able to perform at the start of the season?
Honestly, that the third surgery wasn't really much of a setback. In all reality, we were actually ahead of schedule with the therapy when we had that surgery. So it basically just pushed it back to where we were right back on schedule again. And now the therapist feels like we're back ahead of schedule again. So twice we've been able to kind of push ahead of schedule, it seems like. So I'm pretty confident from that standpoint that wasn't a setback at all. It's just it's still a question mark of what's it actually going to feel like when we get in a race car and try to drive wide open for lap after lap.
So this is pretty much the schedule that they had hoped for when this option was placed?
Yeah, we're actually just a tick ahead of schedule still. So it's the second time since the injury happened that the therapist has said we were ahead.
Okay, we'll go next to Jenna.
Jenna, Fire AP, two questions. The one's real quick. Have you even sat in a car?
Yes,
yeah.
I did. I had a seat fit at the shop about, I guess, 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. So it felt like an old pair of shoes. The hard part was they kept telling me I had to get out of it because I kept wanting to sit in it. It was like I felt like a kid. I wanted to keep moving the steering wheel and everything else. And they go, you have to get out so we can finish doing our job with the seat. So that was kind of fun to get back in there. I mean, it kind of felt like the first time I got in one. It was that kind of excitement. So
You can drive a street car.
I've been driving for 4 months.
Okay. My real question, or my more lengthier question, is at the shop you had talked, I guess, in November about what a grueling off season this was going to be for Zippy and the huge undertaking. How has that gone behind the scenes and the job he's done?
Why do you think I went home? I didn't want to be around.
But you had said that you didn't, just because you got hurt, you didn't have the luxury of taking time off.
He's not going to give me that much luxury, so he's done well with it. I think it's, I think when all this happened, it was a thrash at first to kind of figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? And I'm pretty proud of Zippy and everybody at our shop. I think everybody got a plan together, and they've been sticking to the plan. So. Like I said, I haven't been there the last couple weeks, but the atmosphere at the shop is we've not seen it. I've not seen it the 5 years I've been there. It's just a high that it's never been at before. So I'm really happy with where we're at with it. I mean, it's I think the best scenario and the best place that we've been in since we've been a part of the company.
We'll go now to Kenny and then go to back to Ken.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. You touched on this a little bit when you mentioned that you have gotten in the car and everything, but with so much at stake, does the fact that you guys will be down here for so long for Speed Weeks kind of allow you to not be as concerned about how you're going to do in the car? And also, have you been able to make racing plans outside of Cup for 2014, or is that just on hold until you know how you're going to do? We haven't even worked on a schedule for my sprint car. I'm going to run races. I mean, we've got a sponsor for it. We're going to go ahead and run. We just are kind of playing it by ear right now. I mean, they're getting stuff ready. The Cup car is the priority right now, and making sure that we're comfortable there. Like I say, I mean, I'm not going to feel 100% physically, but I'm going to feel 100% enough to drive a Cup car. Bouncing around in a sprint car is a little different deal, so we'll take a little more time. There's not a sense of urgency. There's not a set schedule for it yet. It's more of making sure that I feel 100%. They're not going to back Daytona up for me if I don't feel like I'm 100% getting ready for it. So this was the priority, obviously, but we're pushing ahead on that side as well and getting cars ready.
Okay, we'll take a question in the back from Ken, then come back up front to Mike.
I'm assuming there's no doubt whatsoever in your mind that you'll be able to race in February. I mean, at what percentage do you think you could perform right now if you had to get in the car, and what percentage would you put on your positivity that you're going to be able to race when February rolls around? And the second part, Mark Martin's role with you guys this year. What do you see him doing? A little bit of everything, or just talk about him if you would?
Yeah, especially, today's a perfect example. I mean, while I'm still healing up, Mark's, helping out and doing the testing for us. So, his role's huge, obviously. I mean, when he comes to the shop, he doesn't come around and just walk around and smile and say hi to everybody. I mean, when Mark shows up at the shop, he's got an agenda, and he's wide open when he gets there getting it done. So, I think there's more that he can contribute than I even realize he can at this point. But he's been very good about when he comes to the shop of working with all the crew chiefs and being a big asset of getting things ready for this year. So he's just I don't know any team other than us have somebody like Mark that can do as much as he can do right now, and he's so versatile with being able to drive, but at the same time being able to go and help with direction on things that he sees that he knows needs changed, and things that we're doing right that they need to pat the guys in the back for. So from that side, he's been a huge asset from that side. As far as percentages, I mean, I'm 100% confident when I get here in February I'll be fine to drive and race and be able to do everything I need to do. Today I can't sit here and say I'm 100%, but I got 4 more weeks, and 4 weeks ago I'm a lot further along now than I was 4 weeks ago, so I'm confident when we come back that we'll be fine. It's just, it's hard to know until you get in the car 100%, but I mean, I feel like I could get the car and drive right now. I just don't know, like Holly said, I don't know about my stamina yet, so I'm kind of curious to know about my stamina as well.
We'll take a poll afterwards. We'll take our next question from Mike.
You are?
Couldn't resist. I've been dying to make some kind of comment. We'll take our next question from Mike. Go ahead.
I'm not sure I can follow that one up. But, Mike Embry, Athlon Sports. You got a bigger team, new drivers, a shop under construction. What's possible for this team this year, considering all that?
I think I think every week we for sure have 3 guys that can go out and win the race, and I think I think on the 4th driver, I think Danica's got potential to be more consistent this year. I think she's got 3 teammates that are going to be behind her 100%. I think we can win a lot of races. I mean, I think realistically we could get 3 cars in the chase. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And I'll almost be a little disappointed if all 3 of these cars don't make the chase by the end of the year. So, and it's not that we're discounting Danica, but it's still a work in progress there. She's still learning. And, this year I think will be a big year for her. I think having that first full season under her belt now and being able to go to every place twice and get the feel of what a Cup weekend's like, I think all that, the news wore off of that for her this year, and I think she knows what to expect, and it's more a matter of just focusing on the things that she can be better at. So I think all 4 of us have potential to do better than we all 4 of us did last year. But for sure I feel like we got 3 cars that can win races and make the chase right now.
Any final questions for Tony? Okay, we'll take our question in the back. We'll get a mic to you.
Tony, can you talk at all about your plans for the car that you're planning to race in the Chili Bowl?
I'm not racing it.
No, I understand that.
It.
Right, but what do you plan to do with the car?
The car is going to be raffled off, and I can't even tell you what the website is right now, to be honest. We'll make sure Mike gets you that information later. But what we decided to do is Bob East built the car. It's our motor and drive line in the car, and what we decided to do was take the motor out of the car after the event, and you don't have to purchase to get a ticket, but they're taking donations for the Charlie Dean fund. So I think the raffle is going to go on 2 weeks after the Chili Bowl to the end of the month, and then somebody will have the car that Casey Kane drove and that we owned at the Chili Bowl this year. So I thought that would be something that, like I said, Bob was willing to donate the car. We were willing to donate the drive line and parts, everything but the motor. So we thought that was something that's a pretty cool keepsake that somebody can get from the Chili Bowl this year that has two guys that were really good friends with Jason attached to it.
Any final questions?
Can I stay while the poll's going on?
I honestly believe that this is the longest media availability you've probably ever had.
So theoretically, my stamina is increasing.
I'm not going to answer that. Tony, thank you very much for your time today, and it is great to see you back in here in Daytona. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.